everybody, and welcome to another hair-raising, fun-filled, expeditious episode of Radiorama, where, as the name implies, I show you how to work on radios and other stuff. And today we have a Majestic Model 330. Kind of a nice-looking tombstone radio. Not sure of the year, but probably, I'm guessing, early 30s. I don't know its working condition. It looks like it was repaired in 1943 and then again in 1946. So who knows? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tube radio. Huh, pretty nice. Probably sounds pretty good too. Alright, I'm going to pull the speaker and the chassis and look underneath and see what is going on under the hood. Well, here is the underside of the radio, and this is what I dislike about a lot of these early 30s radios, is that they thought it'd be real cute to cram capacitors into metal boxes like that, and so you have to trace everything out on the schematic to figure out what goes where. It's mentioned here as can number 8731, so you got to trace them all out on the schematic, get their values, and then you can replace them one at a time. They all go to chassis ground. This wire wound resistor is actually still good. They both are, but they're kind of crusty. I'm going to replace those. Got one electrolytic here. This one is obviously replaced probably in the 40s. That's probably that 1946 era cap. Looks like nothing else has really been done to it. Maybe that one. I don't know. This is why you don't power stuff up like this. You would have fucked up the transformer. Alright, they start up the shop backs as soon as I start filming. But anyway, I've gotten all the capacitors that were placed on these two metal boxes. Just took a little bit of time to trace them out. I'm going to replace this resistor, even though it tests good. It just looks nasty. It's good, cheap insurance. And then there are several electrolytics that need to be replaced. This guy, and that guy. 3 more. I have to admit that I dropped the chassis off the cabinet, off the shelf, and it came crashing down, and it didn't damage itself, which is amazing. I can't test it unless I replace this wiring. The rubber insulation is completely hosed. So hopefully all this effort will mean something. Hopefully it'll actually work. I'm looking at this. It's interesting. It says Magnavox. So Magnavox, early days, were also a parts manufacturer, apparently. Alright, so all the capacitors are now replaced. Electrolytic and non-electrolytic. And now I need to replace all this rotten wiring. Place one wire at a time, make sure it's the same length and everything. Then we can test this guy out, see if it all works. Alright, well, as usual, I messed up here. Me and my friend Rajesh are trying to figure out what I did. First of all, something did get damaged. When I dropped it, it busted that coil, so we got open coil there. Secondly, I made a miswire in one of my capacitors, so we were getting no audio. So, we will find out what the stupid mistake I made was, and hopefully get this guy up and running. So it's a good thing I came here today, because when I make dumb mistakes, it's good to have people that know what they're doing helping. Alright, welcome back to day 2 of working on the Majestic, and as it is usually chaotic over at the museum, I kind of wanted to reiterate what happened yesterday. So yesterday it was recapped, and somehow the cord got wrapped around my ankle, and I yanked the chassis off the shelf, and it fell hard, and somehow it damaged this coil and broke it in 5 different places. And one of our members, who is, I think, is categorically a genius, was able to figure out what went where and re-put that back together again, and now it works. I brought it home. I'm going to finish it up a little bit. I want to clean the volume controls, oil the tuning mechanism. I went ahead and cleaned the chassis up so it's pretty looking. I need to work on the cabinet a little bit. I'm going to add an audio input feature to this guy. And, you know, on second thought, maybe I won't. What kind of volume control is this? Volume. Where does that go? You know, probably I won't on this one. I think it's got more of a collector's value than anything, so I'm not going to add it. If it was another radio, fine, but this is going to be an auction set. If it doesn't sell at the auction, then I probably will add an audio input for a future event. Anyway, I'm going to set it up right. I want to lubricate some of the tuning mechanisms up here. Okay, I already added a little bit, but I'm just going to basically oil everything that moves here. I'm going to get these bearings. There's a bearing back here, and there's a main bearing for the tuning condenser, and then I'm just going to work it in. And already that's moving so much better. Yesterday it was hard to move, so that's good. Likewise, I want to do the shafts for the tone and the volume controls. I just want to get the outside. I've put quite a bit on so it'll kind of soak in via capillary action. Yeah, so that's already a lot nicer. Much better feeling. Little things like that, just the small details, will make the sets feel, you know, nicer to use, and it's all about that sort of tactile sensation. Sometimes you might have to apply a little heat to kind of dissolve the old grease. I don't think so on this one. It seems like it's okay. Just let that set for a little bit. So now it's time to go work on the cabinet a little bit. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is work on this top here. I was told by one of our members you can sometimes save messed up finishes by reflowing the shellac, and so I'm going to use, I don't have any acetone, they said use that, but I've got paint thinner. So I'm going to rub it over the top of that, see if it reflows that finish a little bit, and then I'm going to go over it with Howard's Restore Finish, Old English, and lemon oil. I got a crack here. I need to repair that at some point too. In fact, this whole front's coming off. I'll have to deal with that. That little trick worked reasonably well. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but it's going to make it more presentable. I think the front's going to clean up just fine. I'm going to use Howard's Restore Finish and Old English. I'm going to saturate. It's nice that none of this delicate woodwork has gotten damaged, especially considering how heavy the chassis is. So let me flip it over. I just use old paper towels. I said old, just paper towels in general. I gotta get out of the sun. It's burning up out here. And I'll do it here in the garage. And we'll see if we can improve the way this looks. Well, spring has sprung around here, and my vine on my house is doing really great. Anyway, the cabinet's looking a lot better. I wound up having, I didn't realize it until I got it home, but this entire front was coming detached. So I had to glue it all back, and I've got it clamped here. I'm going to let that dry for a little while. I've actually got a few radio projects I'm spinning all at the same time, so I'll attend to those and then come back to this after it's had some time to sit and dry. Alright, so now that the wood glue's dried a little bit, it is time to get out my buffing tool with some car wax and go over the whole thing, especially this front area. You have to be careful not to bear down. If you're just laden up with waxes, you'll get wax all inside of that, and it'll be a big pain in the ass to remove, so just be gentle with it. Okay, well, I put it all back together again. This is after probably about 3 runs of waxing. I might do 1/3 pass, or a 4th pass rather. It's good sounding radio.
Your painting, if it goes poorly, is what gets you.
Anyway, I have a short antenna on it right now, but it's pretty sensitive despite that. I'll probably include a longer antenna with it so that the future owner can listen to more stations. Anyway, this guy was almost a disaster, and thanks to my friend Majestic, we were able to save it. We're not done with it totally yet. In fact, what I'm going to do is, because I'm not the refinishing guy, is one of our members is, and he is going to just refinish this top. Because I think the front and sides are totally fine. I would not bother, because this has really nice patina and coloration, and I think to strip that down would kind of ruin it. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm going to let it play here for a few hours just to make sure nothing's going to go wrong with it, because it is ancient. It's almost 90 years old. Actually, it is 90 years old this year, and so I want to make sure that anything that might break down thermally will do so in my presence versus after it's been auctioned off. Alright guys, I know this was kind of a weird short episode, but thanks so much for watching. Until the next time radio comes across my workbench, see you guys next time. Adios.